What is real war? What do the Jews want to do? Beit Al-Maqdis is the holy place of three religions. The second Qibla of Muslims, Jesus be born for Christians, Solomon's temple for the Jews. Let's start with Hazrat Abraham. He had two sons, Ismail and Ishaq. Hazrat Yaqub was the son of Ishaq. This is where the story of Israel begins. Israel is the servant of Allah, and this title was given to Hazrat Yaqub. When Hazrat Yusuf became the guardian of Egypt, he was ordered to call his entire family, the family of Yaqub, to Egypt, and a certain part of the land of Egypt was allotted to them. And it was said by Allah, O family of Yaqub, there are blessings for you in this land. Hazrat Yusuf had 12 brothers. That's why Allah released 12 fountains for him. And so the name of this land became Israel after the title of Hazrat Yaqub, which is also called Jerusalem today. More or less 70,000 prophets came from your generation. When the generation of Yusuf's brother Judah continued, all the Israelites who came from him were called Jews. Time passed and the era of Hazrat Moses came. When Pharaoh oppressed Egypt, you had to leave Egypt with the children of Israel. During this time, many blessings of Allah were bestowed upon the children of Israel, in which the mention of Mano Salwa, abundance of springs, hunting of fish is also found in the Holy Quran. And there we also find mention of a cow, from whose udder the dead man came back to life by the command of Allah and told his killer. The signs of this cow were described by Allah in the Holy Quran, which was a red-colored cow, and such a cow is still considered holy by the Jews. Other prophets came after Hazrat Moses. During this time, Bani Israel preserved some of the remnants of Hazrat Moses and his time. The Torah, Mano Salwa in a box. It was a special ark given to Hazrat Adam by Allah, which remained with the prophets from generation to generation, which is called the coffin Sakina in the Quran, and this is dearer to the Jews than their own lives. When Hazrat Dawood defeated Goliath and obtained the Ark of the Covenant from him, the Israelites accepted him as a prophet, and Hazrat Dawood started building a temple to protect this Ark, which could not be completed in his lifetime. His son Hazrat Suleiman completed it with the help of jinns, and he also died in the meantime. That is why it is called the Temple of Solomon. Later, Bakht Nasa, the king of Babylon, attacked Israel and destroyed the Solomonic temple, and Sakina also took the coffin with him. Cyprus the Great regained the city. The Jews were resettled here and the Ark of the Covenant was also brought back. The Suleimani temple was once again built. Then time passed and Jesus came. Nauzubillah, the Jews gave the titles of Dajjal, illegal and what? From here, the Jews became two separate nations, one Jewish and the other Christian. The Jews conspired to put Jesus on the cross and Allah lifted them up to himself. After that, there were many small wars between Jews and Christians. Then the Christian Roman king Titus attacked Jerusalem with such ferocity that he destroyed the whole area brick by brick, destroyed the Soleimani temple, only one wall of which currently exists in its original state, which is called Devargriya, Cry Wall, where the Jews go and recite the Torah and mourn. Sakina did not know where the coffin disappeared. After the attack of Titus, the Jews were waiting for the last prophet, because Allah promised them that they will be given rise again. This promise is also mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, O children of Israel, remember the blessings that were bestowed upon you, and fulfill your promise, believe, so that we may fulfill our promise. One of the signs of the doomsday is that the Suleimani temple will be built 3 times, which has happened twice. The Jews were waiting for their Messiah and the last prophet, that the prophet of the last days was born 500 years after the invasion of Titus. Here the Jews got a shock that all the prophets are from the generation of Hazrat Ishaq. Then how come the last prophet came from the generation of Hazrat Ismail? And they refused to believe. For Muslims, it was the sign of the prophets. That's why the Suleimani temple was named Beit Al-Maqdis. At the beginning of Islam, it was ordered to pray facing the holy temple in order to convince the Jews, because the Jews worshipped facing that direction. 17 months later, our worship was diverted from Beit Al-Maqdis to Baitullah, because the first Qibla of Muslims has remained the same since the beginning, which was built first by Hazrat Adam and then Hazrat Ibrahim. During the reign of Hazrat Umar, Jerusalem was occupied by the Christians. He had built a church in the premises of Beit Al-Maqdis itself, and in the place where the coffin was placed, they used to throw dirt in the hatred of the Jews. At the time of the conquest of Jerusalem, when Hazrat Umar went there, he was angry with the Christians. He cleaned it and built a mosque there. and named this mosque Al-Aqsa after the ascension incident in the Quran. The wall of the Jews was also present in the same premises, so they were also allowed to come there as pilgrims. Jerusalem remained a Muslim city until the Abbasid Caliphate. After that, the Christians attacked Jerusalem again and captured it. Salahuddin Ayyubi fought more than 50 battles against the Christians and regained Jerusalem. And then for 700 years this caliphate remained under the Ottoman Empire. The Jews also had freedom of their religious practices until the wall, and the Jews slowly began to settle in Jerusalem again. During this time, he tempted the Sultan of the Ottoman Caliphate to hand over Jerusalem to him in exchange for money, but failed. And then in World War II, the Christian soldier Hitler killed the Jews indiscriminately. About 6 million Jews were massacred and forced to flee. During this time, he had realized that he now had to make his own identity, and many of the signs that preceded the final rise of the Jews in the Bible had also appeared, and they had accepted that their last Messiah would now be Dajjal. They recognized themselves as a separate state by negotiating with Great Britain. Thus, Israel appeared on the map of the world as a regular country. Then gradually they captured Palestine and other Egyptian territories as well. The Arab countries came to war against Israel, but by that time they had strengthened themselves so much that the Arab countries had to give up on this small country. The Christians also saw that nothing could be gained by fighting them, so the priests organized ceremonies in regular churches and forgiveness was announced for the Jews. Thus, political and economic interests have brought each other's eternal and mortal enemies on the same line for 2000 years. And the words of the Quran also became true. Jews and Christians are friends of each other. According to the beliefs of the Jews, they call themselves guilty if they do not protect the temple of Suleimani. They beat themselves with chains and leather to punish themselves, and cry to the wall. They believe that in the third time they will have dominion over the entire world. For this they have to demolish the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which they have prepared. Since when have mines been laid under the Al-Aqsa Mosque? After that, the Suleimani temple should be built and the coffin of Sakina should be kept there. They have also recovered the coffin. They have prepared so well for the signs of doomsday mentioned in our Islam that they have planted Garkad trees. It will shelter them. Bab-e-Lud, where according to hadiths there is a mention of Dajjal being killed by Jesus. They have built an airport for the escape of Dajjal. All these are the signs of the imminent doomsday, and the Suleimani temple has to be built as well. In this video you have to know what is the conflict between Israel and Palestine. The Jews of Israel are following their same mission and their injustices with the Palestinians are increasing day by day. If you liked our video and it increased to your knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and visit our channel for more informative videos.